In this video, I want to take a look at Bitcoin and the fact that we've seen a major sell-off here in just the last 10 minutes as I am recording this. And I want to talk about this, levels I'm watching here, and what are my thoughts about this sell-off in regards to this resistance zone, this blue resistance zone that we have been talking about for the last few days here. And also in regards to this rising wedge, what is my update here, the levels I'm watching, and I want to talk about the exponential ribbon also, the EMA ribbon, because I think that can hold a lot of significance here as we are seeing this sell-off happen. And I also in this video want to talk about Ethereum, and I also want to say a few words about Ripple. So if you think that that sounds interesting, then I think that you should definitely watch this video. Hello guys, and welcome to the moon. My name is Carl and I'm here to bring you another cryptocurrency video. And today I want to start off with one of my favorite tools, and that is the Fibonacci retracement tool. Hey guys, and you can see maybe the background just changed. That's because, well, right as I was editing, we saw this major red candle just go straight down here. So I just want to make my update here real quickly, because basically no one is going to want to watch a video that just got totally irrelevant after we saw this major big red candle, because of course that's the biggest news right now. Let's go to the 15-minute here, just take a look at this, and this is just extraordinary, of course. And so basically what I was talking about in the video, and I'm going to edit all of that out because it's totally irrelevant. I made all of that, everything I recorded was right here, right before this major. So yeah, no one's going to want to watch that. So, but what I basically talked about in the video was that we did break into another triangle here. This is the triangle we talked about in yesterday's video. And we did break into this tightening pattern. And if you break to the downside, I would look at this level. Obviously, that didn't hold true. And of course, maybe this could show some significance. But this is totally extraordinary. And this just totally broke all lines here. So all support totally got destroyed here. And this is a major fall. Let's just take a quick look at how much we fell at a very small little time frame here. So 4% in a matter of just maybe 10-15 minutes, and we can see that it actually happened as we broke down below the support line that I was talking about in, well, the material that I'm now editing out. And also what I rambled on and on about in the material that I'm editing out now is just this resistance zone that we've been talking about. And just to keep this short and clear, is just we ran into this resistance, and it seems like Bitcoin didn't have enough fuel to actually push through here, and right now we saw a big sell-off here. And what I'm going to be watching here very closely is the bottom support of this rising wedge here, and I adjusted this line a little bit here. And when I adjusted this line a little bit, we can see that all of these points of contact, they do line up with the support that we got right now as I am recording this in this sell-off. So I think that this line is truly very important, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can see short-term support here. But if we do break here, then obviously that could trigger a major sell-off. And if we go to the daily and bring out the exponential moving average ribbon, we can see that something that people are talking about is that possibly this ribbon might hold support. I'm not really too sure about that, because previously the ribbon just has not been able to hold support generally on the daily time frame. However, on the 4-hourly time frame, it has shown off a lot more significance. We can see these 3 times there, and exactly right now we can see how this ribbon actually has supported the price. And as of right now, we have seen a short-term bounce off of the bottom of this ribbon and the bottom of this rising wedge. So that is going to be very interesting to watch, to see if we can see any short-term bounce here. But obviously, if we do break this EMA ribbon, that would mean that we are breaking the structure that we built up here of bouncing off it. That, in my opinion, could trigger a sell-off. And if we go to the 1 hour, we can see that exactly what could happen to the 4-hourly happened on the 1 hour. We've found support several times here. We see nice support in the bottom of this ribbon, and yeah, came right down here. So that is the update I'm going to make now. This video is going to be a lot shorter than usual, probably, because I mean, no one's gonna want to hear me ramble on and on about this resistance zone, ramble on and on about support zones that just got wrecked anyways. So I'm not gonna take too much consideration into those. The stochastic RSI I can just mention, but here in the stochastic RSI on the daily time frame, of course, what we have been talking about is that we are in the higher regions here, and that should indicate that we might see a correction coming. And something else we can talk about real quickly here is just all of these bearish divergences that we have been talking about. Like, for example, here in the 1 hour chart, we've seen a bearish divergence here. We've seen a very large bearish divergence here in the 1 hour time frame. That's something that we've been talking about. And if we go to the 4 hourly, we've also saw this is the bearish divergence that I've been more interested in to watch, and that is this bearish divergence where we've seen, well, the price and RSI diverge, and also of course the resistance zone that I think that we need fuel to be able to break through this resistance zone. And I think that as long as we are in these overbought territories in the stochastic RSI, that is going to be hard. So yeah, but this is my update right now. This video is going to be a little bit shorter because yeah, I don't want this video to come out too late. But I also recorded some stuff about Ethereum and Ripple and altcoins that is still relevant, I think. So I will just leave over to you, Carl. Bye. And by the way, a few days ago I made a video where I talked about future price predictions made by other people, and I just shared my opinion about those price predictions. And one thing that I said was that I believe that Ripple in 10 years time, I don't think that Ripple is going to hold much value at all. And that actually stirred up a lot of emotions in among you guys. And maybe I expressed myself a little bit too aggressively about Ripple. It might have seemed like I had some type of personal vendetta against Ripple. But I just want to make this clear, guys, that I don't hate Ripple. And I've never hated Ripple. I actually held some Ripple back in 2017, and I made some gains in Ripple. I've traded Ripple. There's nothing really evil about Ripple. And if that's how I sounded when I made that video, that's really not what I wanted to convey as a message. The reason why I say that in 10 years time I don't believe that Ripple is going to hold any value, just like 95% of all other altcoins, is that first of all it's an altcoin, and there's always going to be a better altcoin, and that's like the first problems with the altcoins, that you can always find a altcoin that can do what your coin can do but better and faster and cheaper, and even that coin that is better, faster and cheaper will get outperformed by another coin that will come in a year's time, or maybe down the line in 3 years. And ultimately, what you will understand is that altcoins, that they can always get better and better and better, and that's the definition of inflation, where you just inflate the supply of something. And there is an obvious inflation in altcoins. And so, does that mean that I'm bearish on altcoins? Does that mean that I don't like blockchain? No, because blockchain can still change the world. Ethereum can change the world. Neo can change, Cardano and Substratum and all of these coins that, I mean, let's not focus on the coin, because the coin is just something that we can trade amongst each other. But the technology is what is important, and that is the actual value. I think that we should separate the value of the technology and the valuation of the coins, because these are two separate things. Maybe it is so that the valuation of the coin doesn't really fit too well with your interpretation of what the value of the technology is, and maybe it's not really directly correlated. So let's play with the idea that, let's say we're 10 years in the future. The thing is, and I want to make this pretty short and clear, because if you follow my channel, you already know about how I feel about the banking system. It's not really what I feel, it's just what actually is. It's not really a matter of opinion. The banking system is a very corrupt system. It's a privately owned corrupt system. And you might have heard me talk about the fractional reserve banking system, the way that the central banks are the reason why we have these boom and bust cycles with the money printing and credit bubbles and all of that stuff. We talked a lot about this, and so the banking system is definitely corrupt. And not only that, but of course also we can see that all banks are highly leveraged with loads of debt, and back in 2008, all of this was very close to come crashing down, and the banking system was this close to totally just evaporate and just disappear. The banks were this close to go bankrupt. They are bankrupt, but they were this close to actually be officially bankrupt, and the world economy was this close to just collapsing. But of course, the Federal Reserve and the central banks of the world, they have just lowered interest rates. They have increased the monetary base, the supply of money, and so that has kind of saved the economy here in the short term, but in fact it hasn't saved anything. Everything is just worse. So what they have essentially done is just push it up to a higher level of debt by using new debt to cover old debt, and of course just spinning this debt spiral. And yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is that, so the reason why I say that in 10 years time I believe Ripple is not going to hold too much value is because I think that in 10 years time it's a very high likelihood scenario that there are no banks. The private banking system is not going to exist anymore. Who knows exactly how the world is going to look at that point, but this is inevitable, and the banking system is not going to exist forever. It is very, very close to collapsing, and we don't know exactly when it's going to happen. It could be happening in a year's time. It could happen tomorrow. For all I know, it should have happened in 2008. Something that I usually say is the banking system could collapse the next week. But that's something that I've said for like 2 years now, maybe 3-4 years. But that does not make it any less true. The banking system could collapse at any time right now, and it should have collapsed back in 2008, and every day it does not collapse. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So that's kind of the background. I don't want to go into this more than I've already done now, because you already know what I feel about this, because I've already talked a lot about this on my channel. And so that means that in 10 years time, and listen to me, it's 10 years in the future. Like, I still believe that Ripple is going to go well past its all-time high. I think Ripple might, I mean, just like all other altcoins and Bitcoin, Ripple is probably going to make these extreme bubble hype things. I definitely think so. And when I do put in some altcoin positions, I'm probably going to put a small position in Ripple as well, just because I believe that people believe that Ripple holds all of this value. So I want to ride that wave as well, but I'm not going to solely invest in Ripple because I don't believe in Ripple long term. I don't believe in many altcoins long term. The only coin that I know is going to hold value further down the line is Bitcoin. Like, I've never been so certain about anything in my whole life. But yeah, just to make things clear, I absolutely think that Ripple is going to go high here when Bitcoin goes on a run, when it becomes mainstream to speculate in crypto. That means hundreds of millions, possibly billions of people might starting pouring in their money into crypto, and at that point I don't think it's only Bitcoin that's going to get a nice surge, but all other altcoins, including Ripple, Ethereum. So that's why I am going to invest in altcoins, and including Ripple as well, because I want to have exposure to as much altcoins as possible and have a nice little diversified portfolio of altcoins. So I just wanted to make that very clear, that the banking system is very vulnerable, and the banking system is fragile, and the banking system has to collapse, and it is going to collapse. And at that point, of course, when there are no banks, I'm not really sure why you would use Ripple when you could use, well, any other coin, right? So that's that. I hope you understand. If you still disagree with me, comment down below and we can talk about it in the next video maybe. Alright, and now that we already talked about altcoins, why not take a quick look at Ethereum? Because I think that the big story here is that Ethereum just continues to set lower and lower and lower lows here compared to Bitcoin here. And so where is the bottom? Well, right now we are at a critical point, because we are right at this line here that I've been watching for some time here, where we've seen support back here. And so this would be a major support line, and let's see if we can hold it. But I mean, I'm not really keeping my hopes up too high, because we've seen Ethereum go down to major support lines previously here, and every time we just continue to fall here. And this is one of the reasons why I don't really go into altcoins right now, and why I haven't done so for quite some time here. And I've seen some comments down below that people are like, why are you not investing in altcoins? They just went up 20%. You missed this whole run, and blah, blah, blah. And well, you could have said the exact same thing back here, back here, back here, and I would have missed that gain, and I would have missed that gain. But see what happened right after. And I don't want to catch these falling knives, and I think that I want something fundamentally to change here in order for me to start getting trigger happy with altcoins. And I think that that fundamental change could be Bitcoin change, because Bitcoin needs to start looking more bullish. I think that when Bitcoin starts to look more bullish, I think that people are going to be more bullish towards crypto generally, and I think that's going to drive in more liquidity, and that might be the beginning of a new bull run. And at that point, I will be very, very confident in investing in altcoins. Right now, I am not too confident in altcoins, because we're still just seeing this go straight down. And I think that the absolutely lowest support we do have for Ethereum is, of course, the previous low we got all the way down here at approximately 0.023 Bitcoin here. And that is a major line that should be watched. But I mean, that's very low. I'm not really sure if we're going to go all the way down, but that would be a fall of approximately 38% in terms of Bitcoin. And let's go to Ethereum USD, and if we were to assume, if we were to fall approximately 40% in US dollar terms, that would be a fall that would mean that Ethereum is going down to $170. How likely do I feel like that is? I have no idea. I don't really know how that is going to play out, because the major thing we need to watch is Bitcoin, like I just said. And for example, let's say we do break down from this rising wedge and get a small little. This could definitely drive down Ethereum a little bit more, drive down the altcoins a little bit more, push up the Bitcoin dominance probably, right? And so that is something that I think we should definitely keep in mind here, that the altcoins are very hard to predict. I think what we need to do to predict altcoins, we need to predict Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king, and Bitcoin decides what altcoins are going to do. And so to analyze altcoins, first get a good understanding of what Bitcoin is doing and what Bitcoin might do, because that is going to give you a clearer view. And I'm still not pulling my triggers in the altcoins, because I still think that the altcoins could have further downwards potential to go down, and so I'm not confident in investing yet. Alright, I think that's enough rambling about altcoins, and I'm not sure how long this video is right now. And guys, thank you very much. For the last few days, I've received a few new patrons on my Patreon page, and thank you guys for the support, and I appreciate that you enjoy my content and that you're interested in seeing more content than we see here on YouTube. And for you guys, I want to take a look at the email ribbon. I want to take a look at maybe the on-chain, the OCFX website here. So that's coming up there, and other than that, I don't think that I have too much to say here. But thank you very much for watching, and click down here to watch that video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.